Time being, putting the spotlight on what's happening in the capex, industrial, as well as defense sector. Priyankar Biswas from BNP Paribas Securities is joining us on the show right now. Priyankar, hi, good to be speaking with you. First up, New Year greetings. But talk to us about what the expectations are when it comes to the Q3 of this year. Clearly, the ports and logistics sector are expected to be a bit softer, right?
Happy New Year, Anisha, as well, and thanks for having me. Yes, that's correct. At least on the port space, we are seeing a fair bit of softness. So we have actually put out something today on this aspect. So what we are witnessing is that port volumes, so the big players like Adani's and the Gujarat Pipavavs and even the major port volumes are very much out in the public domain. And we can see there is already a softness that is being witnessed all across the board. So there has been weakness in, let's say, iron ore exports as well from India. The coal volumes in particular has been weak. So based on that, we are seeing that the port volumes should has disappointed. But having said that, the mix has improved. So for instance, container volumes are still growing at double digits. So that is one thing that is more like an offsetting factor here.
Priyanka, I'll come to you on L&T. Now, that stock is down almost more than 1.5% in today's trading session. But you have, you have increased the target price and with an upside of almost 20+%. Tell us what's interesting you in L&T. What's the upside? What's the upside, and what are the triggers and levers for growth that you're seeing there?
So what I will highlight is that there has been an increased pessimism on L&T from the investor or the street side, let me say, for the last 3 or 4 months. Even before the 2Q results, for instance, there was a lot of pessimism. The pessimism was mainly whether L&T can deliver on the order inflow front. So especially the thought process was that the Middle East capex is slowing down, the oil capex of Aramco that will slow down. However, having said that, they delivered very strongly on the 2Q numbers. And what we are saying that 3Q numbers may be at a record level, I mean, versus other quarters. We have already seen two very big orders come in, and we do not believe that there is going to be a Middle East capex slowdown in the next year. So we have done some analysis, and it seems that Aramco particularly is increasing its capex significantly in gas, petchem, those areas where L&T is very much present. And there is a sharp focus of the Saudis towards renewable and power transmission and power transmission. And that is where L&T also has good market share. So we expect the wins to continue. And the good part is those orders have very low working capital levels. So the working capital levels should improve, and we should see that translate into strong cash flows. So that is a key reason why we feel that L&T may surprise positively this year and this quarter as well.
Inflows continue, no pressure from the international orders, working capital can improve, and that obviously will have a bearing on the entire ROE, ROCs, etc. But Priyankar, what's your take as far as defense pack is concerned? It's seen quite a bit of correction. Stocks were down anywhere between 20 to 50%. Do you think they're now entering the buy zone, or you would still recommend staying away?
So while we do not cover the defense stocks explicitly, we had actually, or a sector thematic part has been quite negative on it since at least August. And we had put out a detailed note on November, especially on the capex cycle specifically, where we have highlighted that a lot of the rally that we have witnessed has to do with increased retail participation or retailization. So the way we see it from the data is the number of shareholders in many of the stocks have increased by anywhere between 6 times to 20 times the number of shareholders. And those are low free float stocks. So essentially the promoter or the government has something like a 87% or 75% shareholding in them. So that is one of the things. And the EBITDA translation that we have seen in the last 4 years, while it is somewhat higher than that of L&T, but significantly lower than power T&D space. So that is one space we definitely prefer. So in that sense, we see that the risk reward, even after these corrections, do not really stack up.
Priyanka, we are just a few weeks away from the big budget. What are your expectations in terms of the government capex, given the slowdown that we're seeing in the economy?
In case of government capex, what we are expecting, and this is our published view as well, is that there would be a marked shift from the public infra-driven capex towards more like the energy side of things. So we are already seeing that the road and railway capex kind of have budgeted allocations have been weak, so as to say, anywhere. And the 8-month data that is out there, it is trending significantly below by almost like 10 percentage points in rail, defense, and highways as well. So the expectation would be that when the revised numbers are put out, let's say in February, we do not see any scope for material upward revision over there. And going forward as well next year, we do not see significant, we do not see at least a double-digit growth in these segments. So it will be single digits.
Already missing the estimates for FY25, and then FY26 over and above that could be only single digits. So don't pin too much hope when it comes to the infra spend as far as FY26 is concerned. But Priyanka, before we let you go, a quick question on AIS Logistics, because that stock has been trending. I think within a month itself, that's managed to run up 20-25%. Any tailwinds that we should be aware of?
So while I can't comment on the stock specifically due to certain restrictions, being a banker, what I can highlight is about that the macro level is actually positive. So in a sense that the LPG import data in India, like as I was telling, the overall port space looks like not doing well, right? But in case of the LPG import data, that has surprisingly come out to be quite robust. So a case in point is Gujarat people of operational results that were put out. When the container volumes were down 13% YOY, there has been the liquid volumes, that is the LPG volumes are up at a record high. So this is happening and this macro is clearly favorable.
Right, Priyanka, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us today.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.